Alright, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, they don't have to be expensive. You can buy cheap ones, you can fix them yourself if there's some problems. This one, when I got it, had a oil leak, engine oil leak. It's coming from right down here. This is a 05 crf100. So today, I'm gonna figure out what's leaking or why it's leaking. Take out these bolts here. Should take this shifter off, it would make it easier, but I'm just not gonna take the time to do that. It's a 10mm bolt, super easy. So here we go, let's see what's leaking.
Add it up.
Cover off. Now, note where this was leaking, there's a little weep hole right here. You can see it's kind of cut away a little bit. There's a gasket there, but it's to seal out water from the stator and the ignition trigger pickup. So this is just to kind of let stuff drain out if stuff does get in there, namely oil, because there's an oil seal back here, and if it's leaking you need to know. So that's what that's all about. So don't get too crazy with this gasket. If you need to, you know, you can throw a little RTV on it. I'm gonna put a new gasket on it because it's the right way, but if you don't have the money, just little RTV or anything on there to seal it. You can just use paper or really thin cardboard even, cut your own gasket. But it's only a few dollars, so if you need to be super cheap, you can make your own, or just put a couple dollar gasket on it. First special tool you might need is a flywheel holder. You can get it from wherever, Rocky Mountain ATV, Motorsport. This is cheap. Just put it in these holes here, then you can get your ratchet in here, bust this nut loose. It's regular thread, so left hand loose. Or if you have an impact, you can just buzz this off on the impact and you don't need this. So that's what we're gonna do.
Add it up.
Set the nut aside. All right, next tool, flywheel puller. This is universal. It will do many things, or well, many flywheels. But this threads into the flywheel, and then this screws in and pushes against the crankshaft. These threads are left-hand thread, so that, I don't really know why, but they're left-hand thread. So you go counterclockwise to thread this in. Go all the way until it stops. No need to tighten this down with a wrench. Just get it finger loose, it stops right, or finger tight, stops right there. Tighten this, then you'll need your flywheel holder for this one, unless you got extra strong hands. You're turning this to the right. I've already broke this loose, so it's gonna look way easier than it actually is, but go ahead and let this handle come all the way back and catch something. On this bike, it's gonna be on the kicker and spring, or if this wasn't here, I could put the kicker up, or kickstand, I mean, and it's gonna catch on the foot peg bolt. And then, so once that's against there, just grab a hold of this T, turn it to the right, pops loose. It wasn't that much harder than what you just saw the first time, so usually come off pretty easy, unless they've been over tightened or on there forever. Then as soon as it pops loose, you can just pull this off. Once you break the friction, you just pull it apart. Go ahead and take this out. Don't forget to turn it to the right. Take this out, you don't need that no more. Put it down. Now, I don't see an oil seal here yet, so I'm gonna take off the stator plate. We'll take out this bolt here for the trigger, pickup trigger, ignition trigger, and then we'll take out these 3 bolts. They take an impact driver. That's your next special tool. Real easy to use. Show you that real quick. This one only has 1 bolt on it. The other end of it has a locating pin. You'll see. If you ever have to do one, you'll see it. Don't drop your bolt in your drain pan. You don't have to drain the engine oil to do this either. So that's out of the way. Here's your impact driver. It's got tighten and loosen, so you can see there's an L right here. Maybe you can see it. And there's an R. So what you do is you hold the end, push in, and turn this counterclockwise. That puts it on loosen. And then put it on your bolt head, push in until it stops, and you just smack it with a hammer pretty hard. And you'll see it'll turn about a quarter turn. and then it's just finger loose. Do this for all 3 bolts. How long did that take me? About 6 minutes, looks like by the camera. Now there's no oil seal in the case here. The oil seal is in your stator mount, and as you can see, it was put on improperly, so it was mashed like this. So a couple $1 seal, a couple $1 gasket, and there's an O-ring that goes right here too. I've already pulled it off. It's only a couple bucks too, I'm sure. I'll buy all genuine Honda parts from Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and usually they're here in 2-3 days. Pretty quick turnaround, pretty quick shipping. So let's go ahead and pop the seal out of here. I'll grab a screwdriver. All right. So be careful not to damage your wires, pulling on them, twisting and stuff while you're doing this. But this seal should come out pretty easily. Should, being the key word there. So if I can get 2 hands on the stator cover. Stator mount, sorry, stator mount. There it is. There's your seal, just like that. And as you can see, right here is where the damage is, just pushed in. The seal would probably work. What happened when they put this in, when they put the stator cover on the crank, the seal just caught here like this, and they didn't catch it. It's kind of down in the hole, you can't really see it very well. And it was never right. It was never sealed. New seal, new O-ring, new gasket. See you in a couple days. Alright, a few days have gone by. Some parts have came in for the crf100. A couple oil seals and an O-ring and the stator cover gasket. If you hear a little bit of fan noise, don't mind me. It's just my little heater. Kind of chilly out here. Also, at some point, my air compressor is draining water, and there's no air coming out yet. It must be kind of plugged, so that was weird. Eventually, it's gonna pop huge and make a lot of noise. So, don't be alarmed. Oh shit! All right, try to do this so you can see everything I'm doing. First thing we're gonna do is put the O-ring on the back side. On the back side of the stator mount. A little bit of lube on that to help it slide into its home. Next is the crank seal. This crank seal goes in with the spring side visible from the side you're pushing it into. Kind of backwards from most seals, but the stator mount goes on. This is the back of it that goes in towards the engine, so it makes sense. Hopefully I can just push this in with my fingers. I really don't want to have to beat this on with a hammer. Use the handle of a screwdriver to help get a little more push on here. So I'm just going to support this with my hand and smack it with a hammer, gently and nice and square. Okay, seals flush all the way around. I'm going to put a little bit of lube on the inside of this too, just to help it go on the crankshaft nice. And I'm going to be very careful not to catch this seal on this crankshaft, which is what happened on the old one, if you remember. Alright, where the O-ring hits, there we go. Just a little bit of pressure, popped right on. just like that. Remember the impact driver from the first part of the video? Make these tight as you can without slipping with the driver. Put it on tighten, right hand, obviously. Oh, I got it stuck. Metal hammer. Now, same as loosening. We're going to put good pressure against this. It'll actually collapse the driver like this. And then you give it a little smack with the hammer. It doesn't take much. That just gives it a little extra torque to keep it from vibrating out. About maybe a 1/16 of a turn, depending on how hard you hit it, of course. That one's gonna get another. Now we put our flywheel back on, make sure our key stayed in our crankshaft. Line the key up with the keyway in the flywheel, right here. This doesn't take much torque, so just enough to hold it. I know that sounds like a lot, but this impact's pretty weak. Make sure we put our ignition trigger back on. Sits on a pin right here on the lower side. Alright, we'll clean this stator cover gasket off, get it ready. Before we put it on, we are going to change the counter shaft seal and the shifter seal. They look like they've been leaking just a little bit, so while we're here, may as well do it right. And this bike's going to be for sale. Let's also take off the shifter too. Most shifters are 8s, but not on this guy. So we don't have to loosen the chain or anything. You can just pull this sprocket off of the splines and let it hang. You can pull the sprocket out of the chain, give you a little extra room. Go grab a pick, screwdriver, something, pop this seal out, and a wrench. I'm going to use my hook pick first, try to get in behind that seal and pop it out. If it's not a tight fit, it'll come out pretty easy. Otherwise, might have to go get grab a different tool. So just work your pick in. Don't scratch your shaft. Oh yeah, comes out easy, really easy. Almost too easy. While we're here, we may as well make everything pretty. A little bit of dish soap and water here. Get it nice and wet. We like it wet. Get a little scrub, scrubby scrub.
Kid for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Kid for my wins, I need my hands. This life is
Okay, trick, new seal. So you're gonna have to probably, it might push in. You might have to pound it in with a hammer though, so take yourself some grease. I'm just using some petroleum jelly. It's what I got laying around. Just kind of pack this groove up where that spring lays with this grease. Oh, if you hit the seal, if you get to going a little too hard, if it's a tight fit, this grease will actually help hold that spring in. If that spring comes out, the seal is just going to leak. It just provides just a little bit of tension to help that seal lip get on whatever it's sealing the shaft good enough.
I miss my baby, so I hit them on the FaceTime. I need it all for them, so no, I cannot waste time. Facing these oceans, feel the water on my waistline. We trust the process and my only know it takes time. You can get it.
I'm gonna get some electrical tape and put around this shaft so the splines don't cut this brand new seal. Can't get the whole roll of tape in here, so I just cut off a piece. Hope that's long enough. If not, I'll just do it again. And don't worry about your tape if it's in. If you think it might be in too far, you can just peel it right out of that seal. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, we're cheap around here, trying to do everything on a budget, so we'll reuse this glove. Just like that. Make sure you put your seal in the right way, spring in. Now, I brought this flat tip punch over. I'm gonna be real gentle around the outside perimeter, knock this seal in until the outside edge is flush with the case. Very careful. Work your way around so it doesn't rock its way out. All right, that seal's done. We'll pop the shifter bolt out. Take a screwdriver, stick it in your pinch area of your bolt, give it a little twist, open that shifter up a little bit. Sometimes they get pretty sticky on the splines. Grab your pick again, hook pick. Again, don't scratch your shaft. Work it in behind. Snag your seal and give it a tug. This one's a little tougher. Oh, there it goes. What I'm doing, I get my pick in the seal, and it's okay to tear the lip. You're replacing the seal, and you get it, twist it like this so your hook comes under this part of the seal. That's metal. And then you just kind of rotate your pick this way, and it will grab underneath here and then over here, creating a lever. It pops that seal right loose, and then you just pull it out. Pretty gravy. Now we'll push it in. These splines are much smaller, and a little more soft edges, so I'm not worried about those splines. Now that seal kind of pushed right in. Weird. It's almost there. Give it a couple light taps with the punch and hammer. Spring into your tape, get it peeled up. It's definitely in far enough that the seal's kind of grabbing it a little bit. But like I said, it'll pull out. Might have to work at it just a little bit. There we go. Just like that. Take your sprocket, get it back in the chain. Sprocket plate on, slide it, spin it in its groove. Get your bolts started. These do not have to be very tight, just tight enough that they don't vibrate loose. I'd probably put it at maybe like 12 to 15 foot-pounds if I had to guess. That'll be enough, doesn't take much. Now, stator cover. We got a lot of gasket material left on this and it's pretty dirty, so we're gonna go ahead and clean this bad boy up. Bolts out. there you have it. That's how you do the crank seal, shifter seal, and countershaft seal on the crf100. This bike's going to be for sale in by the weekend, so by the 21st. I'll probably list it on the 19th. So if you want it, I'm going to ask $1,500 for it. It's an 05. It's in great shape. You just saw I resealed the left side of the engine, so should be good for a while. I don't have any engine oil that is wet clutch safe, so I'm going to pick some of that up on my way home from work tomorrow, and we'll give it a test run. I'm sure everything's fine, and then we'll list it. Hey, if you've watched the video this far, obviously you must have liked what you saw. Smash the like button, subscribe, share our channel, help us grow this thing. Let's ride.